In all the prisons across New South Wales, there are about 40 inmates whose crimes are so shocking that their files are marked never to be released. Tonight's drug lord is one of those men. He organised the murder of a mild-mannered accountant, a family man. It took police over a year to work out how a massive drug bust and a homicide were directly linked to one man. And that man's name is Yonky Tan. Yonky Tan came to Australia from Indonesia in 1985. He was only 20. By the time he was 37, he owned an Indonesian restaurant in Kingsford in Sydney's east. It's March 2002, and a member of the public notices the owner of the restaurant, Yonky Tan, and another man doing a drug deal. He sees Yonky Tan giving the man pills. The witness decides to go to the local police. It could all be a hoax, but police have to follow up on the lead. Detectives pull over the man Yonky Tan was seen talking to. His name is Marcel Thay. Detectives now search Marcel's car, and it doesn't take them long to find evidence.
Marcel appeared to be extremely nervous and kept sort of eyeing a small bum bag which was sitting on the back seat. That bum bag on the back seat was a kilo of ecstasy.
The 1 kilogram of ecstasy on the street would be worth $120,000. Marcel Thay is taken into custody. Police now suspect he's dealing drugs. But how big a player is he? And is there a bigger stash at his home? Detectives are at Marcel Thay's home. Marcel's house is a mess. The police can't afford to miss anything. It doesn't take long before detectives get their first find.
White powder, a coffee table.
That powder is ecstasy pills that have been crushed. But as far as drug investigations go, it's hardly a jackpot. Police trust the tip-off and keep searching.
Small set of scales, gram, black in colour.
Within half an hour, another drug find.
One large glad bag containing a smaller glad bag with a multicoloured green, pinkish white powder substance.
It's more ecstasy pills that have been ground down, but this time it's much bigger. That plastic bag would sell for $60,000 on the street. Police are onto something. This is the home of a drug dealer, and who knows what they'll uncover next.
We found documentation, passports.
8:50 p.m. Bedroom 1, recovered large amount of cash.
We found what we call a tick book, which is an indication of amounts of drugs that have been sold to people and for how much, and money that was owing to this particular network for the sale of drugs.
Appears to be a number of entries here, possibly concerning some type of transaction or documentation.
Now police know Marcel is not a small player, but could there be more drugs to find in this house? There's one last place to look, under the stairs. Police pull out box after box.
8:27 p.m.
Then
A large brown box.
that's what they wanted to see. That is a massive stash of ecstasy. Kilo
2,
after kilo
3, 4.
after kilo.
As you can see, it contains 2 large glad resealable bags containing numerous green tablets. They've got a score mark on them and marked MTV on site.
They found a number of green and pink pills, which at the end of the day came to 26 kilos. We estimated it was about $4 or $5 million, which had to hurt the local industry. It was a lot of tablets, a lot of hits.
$4 million worth of drugs from one random tip-off.
We were stoked.
Detectives take the drug haul back to the police station and weigh it right in front of Marcel Thay.
Okay, Marcel, do you agree with me that on the reading on the scales at the moment is 4,863.8 grams?
Yep.
The more weight that went on the scales, the more trouble he realised that he was in.
In total, 26 kilograms of ecstasy, and for Marcel, that could mean life behind bars. Police now go after the restaurant owner, Yonky Tan. Police pull over Yonky Tan in his car. From the information they received, police have cause to search the vehicle and are in for a massive surprise.
Police at the time opened up the boot, found the suitcase, opened the suitcase and found an extremely large amount of loose cash, mainly 50s, 20s, $100 notes, just thrown into this large suitcase.
Police confiscate Yonky Tan's car. Others have the task of counting the loose cash found in the boot. It seems never-ending. Bundle after bundle, and they just keep coming.
Grand total of $165,300.
$165,000 just lying around in the boot of Yonky Tan's car.
Yonky needed to prove why was he in possession of $165,300. How could he justify carrying that much cash around with him?
It's certainly not normal, and police decide they must search Yonky Tan's home as well.
We have a search warrant to search these premises.
This is the actual police footage of the search of Yonky Tan's house. And it doesn't take them long to find, yeah, even more cash.
There's 1, 2, 3, right.
Next, police confiscate Yonky Tan's computer. Somewhere on this hard drive could be the breakthrough police are looking for. They want to find something to tie Yonky Tan to the 26 kilograms of ecstasy found earlier under the stairs at Marcel's. Police go from room to room.
For the record, 4 passports.
On his bedside table, we located a document called the agreement.
And look whose name is on the lease. Marcel Thay, the man police arrested, the man who had 26 kilograms of ecstasy under the stairs in his house.
Marcel had allegedly entered an agreement with Yonky to lease the garage of Yonky Tan.
The document links Yonky Tan and Marcel, but it's in such an obvious place, police wonder if it's genuine. Is Marcel really renting Yonky's garage, or is there something in the garage Yonky doesn't want police to know is his? And what's in the garage? There's only one way for police to find out.
We opened up the garage, we went in, we had a look, and we identified what looked like a cleaned up drug lab. There were a number of items in there, like bowls, air filters, chemical cooking solutions that had residue on it that was also pink and green, the same pink and green of the tablets that we found at Marcel's place.
Could this be where the 26 kilograms of ecstasy in Marcel's house was made? Police are faced with many questions. Is what's in the garage really Marcel's, or is Yonky Tan setting him up? Police have no proof that Yonky is involved in drugs. All they have on him is the money in the car, and that could be legitimate.
I was reasonably certain that Yonky was a major player in this network. Unfortunately, I was just short of proof.
But this case is about to take a massive twist. For police, it's about to go from a drug investigation to a murder case. Detectives will have to get to the bottom of a homicide. They will discover money laundering and forged documents, and finally piece together how that all links into the drug lord, Yonky Tan. It's been a busy 24 hours for police. They've arrested a man, Marcel Thay, and found 26 kilograms of ecstasy under the stairs in his house. They've arrested another man, Yonky Tan, and found more than $160,000 in his car, but nothing that is obviously illegal. Police have to let Yonky Tan go. They need more evidence before they can charge him with any drug offences. Yonky Tan is about to become embroiled in a murder investigation. He will organise a hit on an innocent man. But the big question is why? It's now December, 9 months since the search of Yonky Tan's car. A man called Dominic Lai is at home. He lives in Sydney's inner west, in a modest brick home with his wife and teenage son. Dominic Lai is an accountant, a tireless worker, devoted to his family. It's 7:30 in the morning. Dominic Lai's wife answers the knock at the door. A man has a parcel for her husband and needs his signature. Dominic Lai comes to the front door and unlocks the security screen. He's pinned to the ground. Dominic Lai is turned on his back and acid is poured over his face and down his throat.
In all my time of investigation, I've never seen anything quite as brutal as this attack. It's one of the most barbaric crimes I've ever been involved in investigating.
These are the actual police photos taken from the crime scene. Dominic Lai spent 3 weeks in intensive care before dying from respiratory failure. Police are now investigating a murder.
Because of the nature of the attack, just being so horrific and so personal, it sort of led us to believe that, you know, there was a message behind what it was all about. The people who had arranged it wanted to prove a point.
In any murder investigation, police try to piece together the life of the victim. Dominic Lai was a father, an accountant. He didn't smoke, he didn't do drugs. It just didn't add up. Why was he murdered? With no leads, police put out a plea for information, hoping someone will come forward.
It was an horrific murder. 45-year-old Dominic Lai was forced at gunpoint in front of his family to swallow hydrochloric acid during an attack outside his Sydney home. The acid was so strong, it was still eating away concrete at the crime scene when police arrived.
Police get a tip-off. The name of a man who was heard organising an acid attack. Police get the phone records for that suspect and find around the time of the murder, the man accused of planning the attack was phoning 3 men constantly, including this man. His name is Dax Satori. He's been involved with drugs before, and police use that excuse to arrest him.
Whilst we were preparing to interview him in relation to his involvement with the drug charges, he came out with a phrase similar to, "Is this about the drugs? I thought this was about the murder." Everyone sort of stopped cold and went. And Dax, on that day, told us of his involvement in the murder of Dominic Lai.
This is a breakthrough. Dax agrees to give the police information.
He was brought in to drive the getaway vehicle.
This is the actual police interview from when detectives take Dax back to the exact suburb where Dominic Lai was attacked.
Which was the house? Can you show us? Do you remember what was being said in the car at the time you first drove past the house?
They said to me that they're just going to scare this guy off.
They're going to scare this guy off?
Yeah. That he said that they were going to pretend that they're going to deliver this parcel to this guy.
What happened then? Yep.
They went out about 5 to 10 minutes. It's not even 10 minutes.
Describe to me what happened when they arrived and what was said and that sort of thing.
They were restless, and then I asked them, "So what happened?" They goes, "No, just drive." And you could smell like a really strong stuff, chemical stuff, acid.
And
there was a pistol as well.
A what?
A pistol.
At the point when they got back into the car and there's all this heavy breathing and handing pistols over and the smell of acid. What was going through your mind?
I said, what have they done? Like, what is this guy did? I thought they just gonna scare. How come they got guns?
What did you think had happened?
They did something bad.
Police now have confirmation on what happened the day Dominic Lai was attacked and who was involved. But detectives still have one big question. Why? Why would anyone want Dominic Lai dead? They go back to the family, and detectives interview the dead man's brother-in-law, Philip Ma.
He opened up and gave us a complete picture as to Dominic Lai and his involvement with Yonky Tan.
There's that name again, Yonky Tan, the man with the money in the boot of the car. Police have made a direct link between the dead man and Yonky Tan. The victim, Dominic Lai, was an accountant. Yonky Tan was his client. Police do interviews with the family. They learn that Yonky wanted his victim, Dominic Lai, to launder his money, to make it legal. But Dominic, the accountant, didn't want a bar of it. Detectives learn that Dominic has put Yonky in touch with his brother-in-law, Philip Ma. So police discover Yonky Tan, the suspected drug lord, and Philip Ma, the brother-in-law, met up. But Philip Ma had a secret that would lead to Dominic's death. Police are investigating a homicide. Dominic Lai, an accountant, is the victim, and the suspect is one of his clients, Yonky Tan. Police now know that the dead man's brother-in-law had agreed to help Yonky Tan launder money.
Yonky would arrange to meet him, and on each occasion he would turn up with a rice sack which was full of money, predominantly $50 and $100 notes. There was at least 100,000 in the rice sack.
Philip Ma takes the money to a casino. He was supposed to swap the cash for chips, then an hour or so later, cash the chips in for fresh, clean money. Philip Ma, Dominic Lai's brother-in-law, was not supposed to gamble.
The only reason that this failed is because Philip Ma is a hopeless gambler. He is an addict, and instead of just laundering the money, he lost it. Philip Ma lost approximately $516,000 of Yonky Tan's money. We found a IOU document which was written by Yonky Tan, and he forced Philip Ma to sign.
Police now know the IOU, the debt, was all too much for Philip Ma, and he went into hiding. And just look at whose name is the witness on the IOU. Yes, the murder victim, Dominic Lai.
Yonky formed the opinion that Dominic must have had some sort of knowledge, so whatever they did to Dominic was only fair and just in the retrieval of the money. Their reasoning was, if we attack Dominic, this will flush Philip out, and he will know we mean business.
Yonky Tan is now a suspect in a murder investigation, but police still do not have enough evidence to arrest him. Luckily for police, they still have the computer they seized from his house when investigating the drug matters. The 26 kilograms of ecstasy found underneath the stairs. The forensic examination of the computer police found in Yonky's house is now complete.
It showed us that the document that had been conveniently left out for us on Yonky's bedside table, which was dated some 6 months prior to us executing the search warrant, had in fact been created the night before, after Marcel V was already in custody.
It's fake. Police discover it was only created after police began their investigations.
Once we had that, we went and spoke to Marcel T and said, when did you sign this document? And Marcel indicated, it's not my signature. I've never seen this document before.
Thereby Marcel could not have signed that document. Thereby the document was fake.
This, of course, basically indicated that Yonky knew it was there and it was his lab. It had nothing to do with Marcel T.
It's proof that the remains of the drug lab in the garage was in fact Yonky's. It's enough for police to now arrest Yonky on suspicion of drug involvement. This is the actual search, filmed by police. And that is Yonky Tan.
Is there anything you wish to declare, any large amount of money?
No, I think.
Is there anything dangerous in here?
No, there is.
Okay, no large amount of money or anything? Got no money?
No.
What Yonky Tan doesn't know is detectives are searching for drugs and also anything that could confirm Yonky was involved in the murder of Dominic Lai.
What about these two keys here? This is all horse.
After 4 hours of searching, police have found nothing. Their final hope lies with Yonky Tan's new computer. Could this hold the crucial evidence detectives need? Police believe this man, Yonky Tan, is not only a drug lord, but also the mastermind of the murder of an innocent husband and father, a quiet accountant called Dominic Lai. Police have searched Yonky Tan's house and found nothing, but are hoping somewhere on this new computer there could be evidence. They go through all his emails and find a trail of correspondence.
The emails spelt out the planning that Yonky Tan put in to the attack of Dominic Lai.
This is the actual wording of what police found in emails between Yonky Tan and an associate. Find someone who can threaten D and P, or Dominic and Philip. In another email, all has become clear that P and D cheated on you. What I am saying is that we must do D first so that P will show himself up. In more emails, I really want to see someone do over P and D. With the emails in their possession, police arrest Yonky, then slowly piece together how the drugs, the money, and the murder are linked. Yonky Tan was importing high-grade ecstasy from overseas. That's what was under the stairs at Marcel's. That ecstasy would then be crushed. Then in the garage at the back of Yonky's, they would cut the ecstasy with other ingredients, repress the ecstasy into pills of a lower quality and sell them on the street. Yonky was making so much drug money, he needed to launder it to make it legitimate. So he gave it to Philip Ma, who lost it gambling and then went into hiding. To try to flush Philip Ma out, Yonky Tan organises a hit, the contract kill on his brother-in-law, the accountant Dominic Lai. It took police 16 months to link together all the players, but finally they solved the mystery, and each offender has their day in court. The two men that turned up in the phone records were charged with the murder of Dominic Lai, but a jury determined there was reasonable doubt. They were found not guilty. Dax Sattore, the driver, was sentenced to 12 years jail for his role in the murder. Marcel Thay was charged with supply of a large commercial quantity of ecstasy and received a 4.5-year jail sentence. He has now been deported to Indonesia. Yonky Tan, the mastermind, was sentenced to 25 years jail on multiple drug charges, and for the murder of Dominic Lai, he was sentenced to life without parole, never to be released.